Are you nervous about an upcoming parent-teacher conference? If so, please keep watching for some tips and tricks on how to make your parent-teacher conference a success. We're wasting time. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Allie Mack if this is your first time here, and this YouTube channel is Hot for Teaching. And the whole point in this channel is to help new teachers not go through some of the things that I went through along my educational journey. So without further ado, let's get started. Before the conference even takes place, you've got to get some things together. The first thing would probably be some work samples from the child. Say this child is not really an academic, is not having trouble with academics, but more so with behavior. Make sure you bring work samples of all the amazing work he or she is doing. That way you have something positive to start off the conference with. If the student is having trouble with academics, you still need to bring those work samples so you can show his or her parents the things that he or she is struggling with. So bring work samples if they're struggling, bring work samples if they're excelling. That's very, very, very important. Write that down, please. Okay, so if you are a teacher that does not give homework, you can skip this step. But for everyone else that gives homework regularly, you need to, obviously, hopefully you documented this homework and who has turned it in and who has not. So you need to bring this documentation to the conference with you. If the child is doing their homework every night, awesome. That's a great way to start off the conference with a positive. But if they're not doing their homework, this might explain why they are not doing so well in your class. So also have that ready and say, I bet if little Johnny did his homework, he would be excelling in my class because this helps us practice for what we're about to do the following day. I've also noticed that many times parents don't even know that their child has homework. They'll get home, they'll say, little Johnny, do you have homework? And he will say, nope, no homework at all. So sometimes the parent doesn't even know you have homework. So make sure you tell the parent your homework policy at the conference. The next thing you need to look at before the conference starts is your behavior documentation. So if the child does not have any behavior issues, no need to bring anything because you can just say, oh, I don't have any problems with this child at all. If they have minor, like they talk out of turn here or they do this there, not a big deal. You could say, I have very little problems with this child. You know what I mean? You really don't need to bring anything if there's no problems or if there's minor problems. You can just tell them just very briefly, not a big deal, blah, blah, blah. And then that's fine. Now, if the child has lots of disruptions for your class, you need to bring all the documentation. You need to bring what you've done to help the child, the interventions you have provided. You need to tell exactly what happened. Remember, just state facts, not opinions. So you need to have this documentation with you as well, but please don't bring up the negative first. If it's positive and no discipline problems, you could start with that. Little Johnny has no discipline problems in my class. He does really well with that. He's got good manners and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But if they are a discipline problem, don't start with this, okay? The next thing you need to bring with you to the parent conference is you need to bring the child's progress report. Usually with the online gradebook that you use at your school, there's a way to print reports. Ask a colleague or a coworker how to print this report if you're not sure, but it's usually pretty simple. Okay, so you're gonna bring that, and if say you don't have access to that, I haven't really been in schools where you don't, but pretend you don't. You could always get your counselor to print out a report for you prior to the conference. So that way you can keep the parent updated with how the child is doing currently, whether it's good, whether it's not so good. The next thing you need to do before the conference is you need to come up with at least 3 things that are positive about the child to start off the conference with. With most of your students, this will be super easy. They make friends easily, they have really good manners, they always turn in their homework. They always say yes ma'am and no ma'am. Well, that's a southern thing. Maybe they don't do that up north. In fact, if I remember correctly, if I say yes ma'am to somebody up north, they usually get mad at you because they call you old. Listen, if you're talking to someone from the South, we are not being disrespectful by calling you sir or ma'am.
It's a sign of respect. Get over yourself.
I say it to kindergartners and first graders and babies, so it's not me telling you you're old. It's me showing respect for you. Okay. So off topic. Let's get back to it. So 3 positive things you need to know before you walk into that conference, because you need to be ready to share those with the parent before you get into the negative situations or behaviors or why the conference is taking place to begin with. You also need to document parent-teacher conferences. I will share a resource with you at my website, that is hotforteaching.weebly.com. Go there for free resources, including the one for your parent-teacher conference. Okay, so you have that ready. The last thing that you need to do before you meet with the parent is try to recruit some of your teammates to come and sit with you in the conference. These are teachers that already teach the child. Maybe you could ask the counselor to sit in, or your administrator. I always like to have as many people with me to share different versions and different sides of the story as possible. That way the parent can have the most input. And you're ready to begin the conference. Okay, so when you first see the parents for the first time, greet them with a firm handshake, look them in the eye, and tell them who you are. I will always say, "Hi, I am Miss Mack. I am Johnny's math teacher. It's so nice to meet you," and then have a seat. Okay, so if the parent initiated the conference, so they called the office and said, "I need to meet with my child's math teacher or my child's teachers," you need to let them do the talking first. This is really important. Don't you dare say a word, because you might be talking about things that aren't even a concern yet. You know what I mean? So as you sit and you ask the parent, if they initiate it, say, "What are your concerns?" And as they talk to you about their concerns, you take notes, but you're actively listening. And not everyone has to take notes. Just choose one person that's in the room to take notes that's not the parent. So you are actively listening, making notes. That way you can figure out what you can do as a team to help that child be successful. Now, if you are another teacher administered the conference, are the ones that called the parent and said, "Hey, we need to sit down and we need to talk," then you all need to be the ones to start talking. Remember, everyone in that group needs to say at least 3 things positive before you say anything negative. And don't talk about the negatives like it's the end of the world. Just say that I noticed that little Johnny is struggling with X, Y, and Z, and what can we do to help? You know, something like that. And as everyone talks, then you take notes, briefly summarize what they said. Just make sure that whatever the issue is with the child, that you have a solution to help. Say the child cannot stay seated. You could say, "Well, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to assign this child 2 seats in my class. That way, if they're sitting and they feel like they need to get up, they can take their stuff or their work and go to their other seat." So make sure that you offer solutions that the parent will be happy with, so they can see that you're really trying to help their kid be successful. And don't be afraid to ask the parent their input. Say, "What do you think would work for him in my class?" Or "What do you think would work for her in my class?" Because keep in mind, the parent knows their child better than anyone. So just keep in mind their feedback is like gold. So listen carefully. Another tip. Remember, if you've seen my previous video on how to conquer parent contacts, I told you not to mention other students' names to the parent. So do not say, "Oh, little Johnny is always talking to Sarah." No, don't do that. Don't you dare mention another kid's name. Just don't do it, please, pretty please. You could get in trouble with this later, and I don't want that to happen to you. The most important thing that you can do at this conference is offer solutions. State facts only, offer solutions. That way the parent knows that you're on their side, and they're going to be more willing to help you when they know that you have their child's back. I know I would, and I'm a mom too. Okay, so at our school, we always allow the child to sit in the parent conferences with us. So if the child is present, ask the child what he or she can do to be better or to do better with whatever the conference is about. So say it's about their behavior. "Little Johnny, what can you do to be more successful and to not have these problems again?" And then take their feedback. Or, "Little Johnny, what can you do to improve your grades?" This will help you later, and this kind of holds the child accountable as well. So you need to record these notes down also. You just do. Once the meeting is concluded, the person who took the notes needs to read the notes out loud. Then everybody that was present for the conference needs to sign it. Pass it around, let the parents sign it, allow the student to sign it if they were present, so everybody there needs to sign it. Now at our school, our meeting notes are kind of like the duplicates, so therefore we always give the parent the white copy, we keep the pink copy, and the office gets the yellow copy. But say that you decide to use the resource that I have on my website or one that you have found that you like. Make a copy of it before you send it off with the parent. That way they have the notes, you have the notes. This holds everybody accountable because it's in writing and it documents that you did what you needed to do to help that child be successful. One thing that happens, and it happens pretty often, well, at least where I am, the parent does not show up for the conference. You wait 10 to 15 minutes for the parent to arrive. If the parent, or when the parent does not arrive, go ahead and have the meeting with the people present. Everybody will share what they would have shared to the parent. You write it down, take notes. Everyone sign it, copy it, and then you're going to put these notes in an envelope with all the documentation, work samples, and everything you brought to share with the parent. You're going to mail it home to the parent so they can see that you still had the meeting and what happened at the meeting and what the teachers are going to do to help the child even if they did not show up. You've got to do this. This is important. And document this as well. In the meeting notes, make sure you include that the parent did not show up. This is important because it kind of puts the ball back in their court. I mean, if you have children that fail and every time you try to meet with the parents, they didn't show up, it's like, you don't care, I don't care, which that's a lie. I always care, but it's kind of like, what the heck, man? Okay, so we're at the last thing you need to do to have those successful parent conferences. You need to follow up. So about a week or two later, if you see improvement in the child, call and tell the parent that. Be like, I'm so proud, it really worked. I think this is going to be great, and I think your child's going to be successful from now on. Or if you see a decline in the child's behavior or academics, you need to call and let them know this too. Maybe you guys need to come together, put your heads together, and come up with another way that will help the child. There's so many strategies out there, you don't need to give up on just one or two, okay? So don't be discouraged, but you still need to let them know, because most parents, I feel, would want to know. In fact, if you're a parent and your child was still struggling after you met with the teachers, wouldn't you want to know so you could come up with a different way? Let me know in the comments, please. All right, so that's it. Let me know if you found this video helpful. Please give me a like, share with somebody, or subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. Please go to hotforteaching.weebly.com for free resources and more content on all the videos that I've uploaded. If you are a veteran teacher and you know some other tips or strategies to make that parent conference go smoothly, please leave those in the comment section below. If you're a brand new teacher, please list the one strategy that you found the most helpful. And I really appreciate you guys watching. You all have an amazing, amazing day. And I will see you next time. Cookie monster. Can I show everybody? Look, it's Cookie. This is our newest baby. We brought her home yesterday. She's like, I don't